Eagles, bulldogs, wildcats, tigers. These are some of the most popular high school mascots in the country. In a special report, Trevor Peters looks into a trend of high schools utilizing professional and college logos and introduces us to a school of Boilermakers 90 miles away from West Lafayette.
Yeah, Kayla, the Boilermakers I will introduce you to are red and white. I know that's hard to believe. So the next time you're at a high school game, take a closer look. There may be some loopholes your school's logos have gone through. It's a normal day at your typical Midwestern high school. Students walking between classes, sporting their school colors and logo. Wait a minute. Doesn't that look oddly familiar? Well, we went to check it out for ourselves in Bourbonnais, Illinois, home of the Bradley Bourbonnais Boilermakers.
If you ask anybody who the Boilermakers are, you're either going to get Purdue or you're going to say Bradley Bourbonnais.
Bradley Bourbonnais is a high school of 2,100 in the southern Chicago suburbs. It's just 90 miles northwest of Purdue. They use the Purdue moniker.
We're both Boilermakers.
Mottos.
And we even say Boiler Up.
And mascot.
Our Boilermaker is based on Purdue's Boilermaker.
Meet Bruno.
Bruno the Boilermaker is our Purdue Pete.
He's been around here quite a long time.
Legend has it that our Bruno really came from a coach in the late 30s, early 40s, and was a Purdue grad. Bradley High School did not have a mascot, and he made the decision that we were going to be the Boilermakers.
But it was time to redo Bruno, not because they were asked to, not because of Purdue. They wanted a local feel.
So we started to look at, okay, what does Bruno exemplify for us in our community of a hardworking community that kind of rolls up their sleeves.
Something the school focused on in the rebrand was making Bruno the Boilermaker look more lifelike.
You know, our athletic department wanted him to make sure that he had leg day rather than just work the upper body.
But Purdue does have something of its own.
We do not have a giant drum.
High schools utilizing professional and collegiate logos is a familiar trend across the country. Check out this old Seeger Memorial High School. That's the New England Patriots logo, just flipped backwards. And the Northwhite High School logo looks awfully similar to the Minnesota Vikings. And you may remember back in 2013, McCutcheon High School changed its logo after they got a letter from the University of Texas.
They were making the point that our Longhorn-style Maverick logo was really confusingly similar to the University of Texas Longhorn.
So what are the laws behind these copycat logos? And more importantly, are they legal?
The way that you infringe a trademark is actually if you confuse the consumer.
Cedric DeHue is a patent and trademark specialist. He says the trademark violation occurs if they're selling a good or service utilizing the logo. And for the schools,
they could be using that mark with the sale of the service of education.
Schools steal logos because there's little risk involved, unless the trademark owner calls them out, which is what happened at McCutcheon.
It's just going to be when someone gets confused and there's a suit brought against them.
So could a lawsuit actually be filed against the schools utilizing the logos?
You know, if we look at the similarity of those marks and they're very similar and the goods and the services are very similar, and you know, especially if the end consumer is confused, almost definitely.
So the school's options
is to either get a permission or make a change.
Bradley Bourbonnais made a change.
We don't have our logo to make money. We have our brands and our logo to be a part of this community and for kids to be proud to wear their school colors.
In addition to the revised Bruno, they now utilize two new logos, the double B and the hammer. But what about that red train?
We put a stop to that because it was just a blatant knockoff of Purdue's train. You tell Purdue when they call and say, wait a minute, they can't use our train. We're not. Yeah. We are the Boilermakers, but we don't have to do everything that Purdue does because it is their trademark, as their logo, and we want to respect that as well.
And an interesting fact, while Purdue does utilize the old Purdue Pete logo, it actually belongs to the University Bookstore. Owner Tom Fry told me he's not interested in fighting a high school or collecting any royalties.
Well, as my mom used to always say, imitation is the best form of flattery.
Well, flattery unless a suit's filed, I guess.
All right, we'll go to weather now.